can you see this website? sosovalue.xyz. So annoyingly, the website version is the worst version. It works better on mobile, which is a bit weird. And I mean, it's like a market amalgamator like Masari.io and all that sort of stuff. But I find it quite helpful just to follow the ETF type stuff. Now, the ETF stuff doesn't work properly on this, which is annoying. So on your mobile version, when you click the ETF thing, it shows you all the main Bitcoin ETF ones, you know, so you've got the grayscale, then you've got the BlackRock one. Now, on the mobile version, when you click into each of these ETF things, and you click max date range, it actually shows you the max date range. Whereas for the website version, I'm not clicking the right thing, but I'm clicking max and it only shows up to the 26th of April. You know, even with like grayscale, we know they've been around for years, yet when I click max, it's only shown to the 26th of April, which is annoying. Because on the mobile version, it shows you the full shizzle. And I was just looking at, on my mobile that is, looking at all of the inflows and outflows of the ETFs, because this is something I don't really track too much, because there's always going to be a bedding in process with brand new ETFs. I experienced this with the gold ETFs back in the day, where I think it was 2003 onwards, we started having gold ETFs coming in, and a lot of the it takes really at least 6 to 12 months for an ETF to properly bed in, because there's a lot of plumbing behind the scenes which people want to test. And the reason I wasn't so worried, like if we look down here, we can see total net inflows, outflows. Annoyingly, I can't open this up, but I wasn't too worried when the ETF started having a bit of an outflow, because I'm pretty sure most of that is just participants testing out the plumbing. Can they withdraw when they really want to withdraw? You know, and a lot of these people will be putting in a small allocation, you know, small for them, maybe a couple 100 million or whatever, but they want to see, you know, first of all, they want to take a little bit of profit, and also they want to see, can they take out the profit? So that stuff will come back. So I'm really not too worried about that. And we can see here in the last couple of days, we've got, you know, hundreds of millions of inflows. Like if you were to add all of these outflows out, I'm pretty sure it won't take long for all of those outflows to, you know, be matched and come back in. So I really wouldn't fret. The other thing is that there is an age-old saying in the markets of sell in May, go away. That's typically for the equity market, so stocks. Typically, May is the worst month of most years. Well, not the worst, but consistently a bad month. And because crypto follows stocks, well, because everything follows liquidity, and Bitcoin is basically in lockstep with the main markets. When stocks go down, Bitcoin goes down, and therefore if Bitcoin goes down, everything else goes down. But this relationship, I'm not too concerned about. I think this is the cycle where we really do start to see a disconnect between Bitcoin. So I think we'll see some big coins that consistently are disconnected from Bitcoin. So everyone likes to say that Bitcoin is, you know, a bit of a hedge against uncertainty and a hedge against traditional main markets. That's, well, empirically not the case. We see that Bitcoin is in lockstep, but I'm looking forward to when we see a crypto that is, you know, not connected, ideally polar opposite to Bitcoin movements, because that would help us during the bear markets. But either way, I want to see something which is disconnected. I've got a fancy feeling that Casper is going to be probably the main coin which completely disregards Bitcoin and the main markets and will sing to its own tune. Now, I'm always tinkering with my Casper fractals and whatnot, because Casper follows the power law. It also has its own interesting emission schedule, which isn't connected to Bitcoin and whatnot. And the thing that I am interested in, and again, this is No, I've already made my own little markings, but I'll just explain it. So my fractal here is somewhat in line with the power law. And so what we're looking at is $2 to $3 cycle high by the end of the year. And that coincides, that's, my general market thesis. And it happens to coincide with, Casper doing something similar-ish. Now, the thing that I'm really interested in is not, the big ups. I'm more interested in these little downturns. So this is the weekly chart on the log. So every pullback has been pretty short, hasn't it? 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 13 weeks. So so from, this chart is getting messy. Is it 13 weeks? No, it's less than that. Sorry. I don't know what happened whilst I was away, but all my charts sort of moved around slightly. So that was actually the low there, really, other than that big spurious spike low. So if we just, at 10 weeks, here we go. So, and then obviously we're, this move up and then down is most likely going to be a Kobo. So these downturns really fascinate me because this is the most crucial downturn, in my opinion, in sort of end of December. Sorry, I'm just going to mute Rob. If what I would really, really love to see is around December this year, something like a 10-week drawdown. So from December throughout Christmas until about February, I would love to see 10 to 12 week cool down, because if that's the case, then it adds way more credibility and likelihood or probability that we are going to see another sort of 10-12 week cool down after the next bit. Now, why is that so important? Because I'm selling, well, the plan so far, and the plan will most likely change as I can see the landscape better once we have more data, towards the end of 2025. But the plan is to sell everything, right? Well, I am Q4 2025 and sit in cash, or not cash, stablecoin for a bit. But if this is only a 12-week cool down period, or hell, a 15-week, 20-week cool down period, well, guess what I'm going to be flopping into? Heavy. I'll be flopping back into Casper, sort of March, let's call it March 2026. So really, it may not be the case of let's sell everything forever or for a whole year or whatnot. It will be a case of sell, big chunks in Q4, bring into the real world what you need. So if you want to buy a house or buy whatever, your bolt holes or whatever, your life insurance plan, as I've spoken about before, do that, but keep a big chunk in stablecoin so that in sort of February, March time, you can actually have a very heavy allocation into Casper in 2026, which I think is quite nice. And I would love to see other assets that disconnect with the main markets. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but remember, trading is not about predicting the future. Everyone seems to get caught up in that. I am not a future reader. I'm not. All a trader does, or a long-term macro investor, is that you're looking at lots of potential scenarios. So let's say you come up with 5 different scenarios. You then allocate, or you then put in action plans in for each scenario, and then you wait and you let the market, you let the data tell you which is the scenario that what scenario is playing out. And normally if you have 3 or 5 scenarios, you're gonna be right. But then once you know, it's this scenario, boom, I'm then going to do this. And then you can move faster than most people, because they'll be still sat there with thumb in bum, mind in neutral, going, I don't know. I wonder what social media's.
I'm here.
Hi, Mila. Right, I'm going to mute Mila. So, I can't mute. Yeah, anyway. So, we are not future readers. We are literally, we're always looking at probabilistic outcomes. That's all we do. Probabilistic outcomes, and technical analysis will sometimes give you insanely clear action, heads up. Insanely clear. Like this one in November, I was literally shouting from the rooftops that we'd have a massive spike in Casper, up to about 15 to 20 cents, and it would last for 14 days. It lasted for 15 days. So that was a scenario, and so we all rode that up nicely. So yeah, so in terms of Casper, I think this is for this model to really, you know, still hold its ground, we need to start seeing this Casper move up now, and which I believe so. I think this is the beginning of this move here, not this big one up here. I believe this price action is this small price action of the ghost feed, so to speak. So we should see a clearing of that high. So yeah, so the high that we're seeing was, you know, around sort of 18-ish cents. So I think we should see a clearing of that, or a clearing of the previous high of 15-ish, followed by a bit of a pullback, and then ramming into a brand new all-time highs. So when I say ramming into a new all-time highs for us, bearing in mind it was 18-ish cents, I'm looking at sort of 25 cents. Pretty soon-ish, really. Again, end of summer, I think everything's going to look pretty peachy.